There. All right. So here's my issue, right? Here's the problem I'm having. And I hope I remember that I'm live because last time I forgot. How would you describe Milwaukee today? Hmm. How would you describe? And that's weird because I know distinctly I put my windscreen in here, but yet it's not it. Maybe I left it somewhere. Who knows? Who cares? Right? Anyway, I digress. How would you describe Milwaukee today? How would you look at Milwaukee? Like if you were to just open up and look at the news and see what's going on in the city, how would you describe Milwaukee? How? So let me see if I got this right. I don't know if you heard today. We got some news stories that will come. We got the top 5 at 5 coming. We have an interview today, correct? So we've got some folks coming in to talk about health. I think you'll be pleased about it. Pretty cool. Signing up for Network Health and all that. So we'll talk about that later. West Dallas had a shooting. They shot a guy today, 64th and Lincoln. So when you turn on the news, or when you look on the news, or if you look online, that's one of the first things that hits. So if they're not talking about the Gaza Strip, they're talking about West Dallas police. Then you have We Energies employees might go on strike. What's that about? I don't know if it's electric, gas, both, regular employees, corporate employees. I don't know who it is because I got to read the story even more. But now we're talking there may be a strike. Right before the winter, right before, snow, ice, rain, all that stuff, right? 5,500 members statewide. Employees are working without a contract, IBEW Local 2150, and they're poised to strike. So, what happens when they strike? What happens when they decide to go on strike right when the snow hits the ground, or before the snow hits the ground, and electric or gas goes out, and you need help? I don't know. All I know is 84% of them voted to strike, like 81% or so, 81% in that ballpark voted not to ratify the contract, and 84% voted to strike. So now we have to deal with the fact that as it gets colder, which is supposed to happen when? Tomorrow. We Energies may go on strike. So I hope everything works out. I hope everything turns out well and that there isn't a strike and everything's great. But, life happens. And then over the last 2 weeks, 14 cars are stolen from Potawatomi. 14. Not one, not two, not 12. 14 cars. So I don't know if you can count. You might have went to public school. I'm just saying. But a week is 7 days. And if 2 weeks is 14 days and you stole 14 cars, you're averaging 1 car per day. So every single day, somebody got into Potawatomi casino and hotel and stole a car. My question? How? My answer, when people want to do things, they do it. When people purpose in their heart to do something, they do it. And there ain't a whole heck of a lot you can do to get rid of it. Lastly, You've heard of Penn, right? University of Pennsylvania. So because of this Hamas and Israeli conflict and war, everybody around the world is choosing sides. Some places around the world are choosing both sides. But for the most part, people are choosing Israel or Palestine. So if Hamas believes they're working towards a Palestinian state, and Israel, like Palestine, they're both trying to wipe each other off the face of the map, that means somebody's going to end up winning, somebody's going to end up losing. University of Pennsylvania major donor is halting donations and is calling on other Jewish donors to do the same. Well, number one, it's a college. So I think students have freedom of expression just like faculty. So when students decide they want to protest, there should not be any backlash from people. You can have an opinion, but to act so far as to punish a university because somebody at the university says something. I'm sure you can find professors at the University of Pennsylvania that have said things that have offended Black people, white people, Hispanic, Asian, male, female, LGBTQ, religious, Jewish, Christian, Sikh, Muslim, right? But to call on other people to do the same thing because you've decided that you're offended, while I understand it, where do the rights of I was about to say the children, where do the rights of the students go when they are exercising their God-given constitutional rights to freedom of speech? Now, you have a right to halt your donations, but I don't know if you should publicly be calling for other people and shaming other people into pulling their donations because you disagree. Students have a right. Now, if you want to say, based on money I gave, it should not go to anybody who supports Hamas or Palestine, okay, that's your prerogative. But to just shut it down, I don't know. What does all this mean? When looking at the city, when looking at the state, when looking at the county, when looking at the country, I'm trying to figure out a phrase that can reflect all those places. I guess now we can talk about the world too, with the Middle East jumping off. What phrase reflects that? And I came up with a 5-word phrase that I think is most appropriate. 833-212-1017 is the number. If you agree, then that means you agree that when you look at the city, the county, the state, the country, and the world, you know what it looks like? Hell in a handbasket.
And that is Dr. Ken's Truth on the new 1017 The Truth.
It is big week for Network Health. Truth Nation, the annual Medicare enrollment period is here. Network Health offers great health plans for you to enroll in. Medicare is health insurance for people 65 and older and some younger people with disabilities.